video about some of my likes and dislikes about the Charger Scat Pack. Starting off, some of the dislikes. The instrument cluster adjustments on these cars, like for the brightness, there ain't no adjustment. I mean, at all. I mean, you got bright or blinding bright. I mean, there's no way to really dim them, and it absolutely sucks to me. I mean, some people might not mind that so much. I find it slightly annoying. The glove box. If anybody's had the 11 through 14 models, being you aware of how the glove box kind of loses its tightness from the passenger side door going towards the center console area. It's never been fixed. I mean, all they need to do is just put a double latch setup onto that, and it would have been fine. But Dodge still hasn't done that. I mean, is it, you know, a deal breaker on these cars? No. I mean, honestly, it's not. But it's just annoyance that I find just kind of odd that they didn't really address since people had so many complaints. Another thing is, why didn't Dodge put a 275 tire on these cars? I mean, I don't understand why. I mean, it could fit on a 9-inch rim. I mean, they're putting 245s onto an 8-inch wide rim. Why can't they put a 275 on a 9-inch wide rim? I mean, it's a 245 tire on these cars will not stick. It won't happen. I mean, I don't care what the tire's made out of. I mean, it can be made out of, sticky tears of orphans and fat people. I mean, it's not going to make a difference. I mean, these tires do not work. I mean, they'll get the job done, but I mean, come on. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody on the market would be willing to pay a couple extra dollars for some 275 tires on these cars. So maybe they'll address it in the 2017 model. I mean, obviously it ain't going to happen on the 2016, and on the 2017, I don't really see it happening either. I mean, to be honest, they're trying to make this a budget car. I mean, you got to take it or leave it how it is. Another issue I have to think, I don't know if you just heard that, but the door's locking on me. The car has some weird quirks to it. I mean, I can be driving, they're supposed to auto lock at 20 miles an hour, and I will take off on the street and hit 30 miles an hour and drive for, I just drove like a quarter of a mile and hit the brakes and stop at a stoplight and then take off again, and they lock. I mean, they're not consistent at all. I mean, I've had times where they've, locked on me at a red light, like the second red light I've hit, they finally locked on me, they need to address that. I mean, it's a little annoying. Another thing I need to do is update the freaking navigation on these cars. I mean, I've messed around with that. I saw people complaining about it, so I went and tried it out, and I drove around my town where I know it, and I've punched in a location I was going to. And the navigation sometimes will send me on the most out-of-the-way sightseeing journey of a lifetime. It'll send me through, like, neighborhoods, going through side streets, like, turning left and right, and then until I hit a main road. Whenever I gotta exit my street onto a main road, which will hit the highway. I mean, it takes me around a long way, which is weird. And, I mean, this need to do an update. I mean, I read that it hasn't been updated for 3 years. Hopefully in 2016 model that was addressed. And hopefully they'll do a update on the system. The next update will fix that issue. So, but, that's the complaints I have about the car. I mean, none of them are like really, like, oh god, this car fucking sucks or anything, but I find it slightly annoying. I mean, I don't know. I mean, another thing I kind of have an issue with, I mean, it's not really issues like, just how the whole cabin, I mean, the cabin's laid out really well. I mean, I'm not an overly tall guy. I mean, I'm like, about 6 foot tall. I kind of ride my seat up a little higher than most people do because, like, to see over the hump is just how I liked it. My driving position is how I like it. Like, I always hit the downward slope on the roof line, which is kind of annoying. So I gotta make sure I duck my head down, like I'm like 6'5" or something. But I mean, that's more like less my problem. I feel like it could have been like a little bit better. I mean, it's not bad, but it is what it is. I mean, are all of these complaints that I would say don't get one of these? Absolutely not. But those are the issues I have with the car. Not a whole lot of complaints, like again, the cluster adjustments, the glove box, navigation. Another issue I have, I guess I forgot about this one, is the transmission. It doesn't know what it's doing. Like when you're doing 30 miles an hour, it doesn't know if it wants to be in 6th gear or 5th gear. I mean, it's always going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It never decides when you're like, if your speed limit speed changes just a little bit, even within the 30 mile per hour range, it will kick down or kick back up. So it's like it's constantly shifting back and forth, and it's slightly annoying. I think they should like reprogram the transmission a little bit so it ain't doing that all the time, because it's more of a complaint of just like the annoyance of it, because you feel the car kind of bog, then kick back up, and bog and kick back up, because it's constantly trying to adjust its RPM, constantly adjusting the RPM to match the the gear you're in. So those are the complaints I have about the car. So I mean, take that as they are. Okay, now basing off the previous statement about the transmission that I dislike. Things I do love about this car: the transmission. I know it sounds weird saying that after complaining about a 30 mile an hour thing, but this transmission is beyond that 30 mile an hour issue. Is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I can't stress that enough. This transmission, when you're getting on it, it's always know what gears to get onto, and it shifts lightning quick. I mean, whenever you like if you use the paddles, whatever, and you shift, that it's like instantaneous, bam, bam, bam. It's always hitting the gears, and in this, going from that old Nag 1 to the new ZF, the car is just always in its power band whenever you're getting on. I mean, it's never not in it. I mean, I absolutely love this transmission, and I wouldn't want any other way. Any other transmission besides what's in it right now. Other things I love, obviously, the power. I mean, this car is a fucking beast. I mean, sorry, excuse the language, but the car is a beast. I mean, people like Camaros and Mustangs, they try to mess with me. See, they locked. Wow, amazing. But they try to mess with me sometimes, and it's just a futile point on it. This car is just absolutely quick. I know people talk about how heavy they are. It does not mean a thing. I mean, this car got the power, and it got the suspension. I know everybody complains about the Mercedes and talk shit on it, but the car, it handles itself extremely well for its size, and it's quick. It is downright freaking quick. So powered, obviously, it's great. Other things I love, the brakes on these cars, it will shut you down to a stop really quick. I mean, these brakes more than once have saved my ass. Because people, I live in a college town, so there's a lot of stupidity and some just dumb drivers not paying attention, talking on their phones. And there's been a couple times where I thought, I was going to hit them. I mean, in my mind, I was like, there's no way this car is going to stop that quick. And it did it. I mean, it stopped itself and it shut me down. And I was able to, not end up with a fucked up car. So, I mean, that's, it's more than enough. These brakes are amazing. I love it. People talk about, the 6-piston brakes and SRTs are better. Yeah, they're better, but, these brakes I have no problem. I mean, they've been a tried and true setup on these SRTs for a decade now. So, I mean, obviously they're not a bad setup, or Dodge wouldn't continue to use it for, 10 freaking years. So, I mean, take that as that is. But another thing is this car looks absolutely phenomenal. I mean, people say the car's ugly, it's lost its, aggressiveness, and they're like, everybody starts talking about it, I like my 2006 2010 SRT, the first gens or the second gens, like the 12 to 14s. I just think they're, I mean, pardon myself, you know, I don't mean insult. Either they're just jealous of the fact that they didn't get the upgrades that our cars have because they went out and buy, you know, a last gen and they're stuck in the payments. They can't afford to switch up, or they just don't know what they're talking about. I mean, I can't count the number of times people have complimented me on this car when I'm out in the last 3 months. I mean, I have not, from gearheads, you know, to other people with like performance cars, you know, from all makes, you know, from like, you know, imports to domestics. I have not, even Ford and Camaro guys, you know, everybody. I have not seen one person like come up to me. Never had one person tell me this car looked bad. I haven't. I mean, this car looks phenomenal in person. I think a lot of people put these judgments on these cars. They've never seen them in person. I mean, just because of the way it is. I mean, there's not a whole lot of them out on the streets right now. I mean, there's some, but it's not like not going to find like, you know, a Honda Civic hatchback. You know, you're going to see like 50 of them going down the street. I mean, like, as right now, I'm the only one with the SRT or Scat Pack variant of the Charger in my town. I think the closest one is like 50 miles from me. So, I mean, these cars look phenomenal. I mean, they brake great. The transmission is awesome when you're getting on it. And the power's there. Love that. Another thing I do love, and, you know, I cannot complain about that, you know, the Uconnect, it's a great system. It really is. You know, with the upgrade, if they updated, you know, the navigation a little bit to make tweaks for, you know, just changes, you know, in the roads over construction over the last 2 years, it'll be perfect. Another thing I really love about this is, you know, the new instrument cluster on these cars. I mean, you know, they put that new 7-inch configurable screen in the center. You can set it up any way you want it to, you know, custom fit how you like your car to be set up, you know, in your displays. Mine's set up the way I like it, and I love it. I mean, I have not one complaints about the instrument paneling on this car. I mean, everything's in its place. It's easy to get to, and it's really comfortable to use. I mean, there's nothing seems like it's out of place or just kind of like a last thought stick in anywhere on this car. Everything is really comfortable, and I like that. But so, I mean, overall, this car is it's an amazing car. Is it perfect? No. I mean, no car is perfect. I mean, I don't care if you're going out and buying, you know, a $3 million Bugatti. The car's not going to be perfect to everybody. It's really not. I mean, you got to take it as it is. I mean, you're also getting this kind of car for under $40,000 at a base price. I mean, that's impressive in today's market. I mean, people are going out now spending, you know, $40-something thousand on, you know, the 2016 Camaros. I mean, and they're great cars. The new Camaros, they've gotten better. They're still ugly as fuck, but they've gotten better. I mean, people go out and spend all this money like on the premium package GT Mustangs, which cost more in this car, and they don't got near the shit that this car has. And so for the base price, you know, especially for a 4-door family car that, you know, is laying down about 500 horsepower and is able to click off a low 12-second quarter and extremely low 4-second pass on 0 to 60. There's not really a fail in that in any way. And so, I mean, it's a good car. I mean, I had the little complaints about it, but, you know, it's not a deal breaker for me. But I gotta say, I absolutely love this car. This is the best car I've ever driven, I've ever had. You know, I've had all different types, and this by far is my favorite car I've ever had, and I really don't see it being surpassed as my favorite anytime soon. And if I do, and if I can afford it, I'll upgrade. But at the moment, this car is the greatest car I've ever driven, and I have no complaints with it. Was my, you know, likes and dislikes of this car. Well, I made real quick while, you know, impromptu, you know, real planning to it while I went into the gas station really fast. You know, once again, ask questions, or if you have comments, you know, post them, and I'll try to answer the questions the best I can or respond to my best ability. But, you know, stay watching the channel because there's some big changes coming to the car. You know, I got some of the parts right now, and just watch the channel. It's going to be some, like I said, it's going to be some major changes coming to the car, and, you know, I suggest, especially if you're looking to upgrade these cars, that you have one or you got one in order or going to get one, watch and I'll show you and I'll let you know what I'm doing and let you see what's being changed to the car to improve upon it. But again, I'll subscribe if you would like to, and watch out for new videos, and I'll see you whenever I do the next one.